Hello, everybody. Okay, my microphone's actually working this time. This is Jovian Videos on Jimmy Master Electronics, and this is not really a review. This is more of a warning and information about the roaming Bump and Go Chucky at Spirit Halloween for 2018. If you're ever, I don't think you would be, but if you ever have the thought of using Energizer lithium batteries in it, don't do it because it will permanently damage the Chucky's board because it's happened twice now at our store, and I will explain the story and say why I did. And first of all, they're defective in general. And I've used the lithium batteries in Lost Her Way and Cryo Chamber Corpse, and they were fine. But the Chucky, two times now, their components that they have are clearly too weak to withstand lithium batteries, and that's not a good sign since it shows that they're weak in general. Um, well, the first Chucky, of course, and of course I gotta mention this. They're that typical roaming bump and go that they've since the roaming dolls and stuff that they the roaming part the roaming mechanisms always get hair in them, and then it causes them to go in circles or not even do anything at all. You know that, and it seems like the smaller the roaming prop is, the more the less it works. Because I mean, I used to have that Techie Toys Floating Reaper, and that thing always worked well. It never acted up really bad like these smaller ones, like the dolls and the clown, the bear and the Chucky. They're all smaller ones, and they always act up. The roaming on them gets messed up pretty quickly due to the hair or whatever. And Lost Her Way, even she doesn't get messed up like these smaller ones do. Anyways, back to the point. The first Chucky that we set up, it worked fine, of course, when we first set up the head and it roamed well. But after a while, the head started to not work right. It would either get stuck looking straight or to the side. It has that same mechanism that the YJ props have, like the Little Nester, Swinging Skeleton Boy, the Deadlift Zombie, Bone Collector. It has that same type of mechanism, and those tend to be kind of faulty for the head movement. There's a gear in there, I guess, that gets rounded out pretty quickly, and it just, I don't know. And there was something with the head causing the first one to actually glitch out. This is not using lithium batteries, just regular batteries. It was, if the head would move, it would cause it to turn. It would cause the Chucky to stop. It would just stop and reset. So if it was, saying one of its phrases and it glitched out, it would just stop and reset and start over. And sometimes it would just the audio would just turn off and it would continue to roam continuously until you turn it off and on. And that's why when I thought, in I was changing the batteries in these like two times a day because they run dead pretty fast. They move kind of slow. Um, and since it was already glitching out, I didn't, when I put the lithium batteries in the first one, it just completely, like, it didn't even work at all. It just bang, it just quit. And there was a burning smell coming from it from the board. So it was completely shot. It does absolutely nothing now. And I thought it was just a coincidence since it was already acting up with the head movement. Um, so then, and I was like, well, that's it. Now we don't have it. I mean, we had five more Chuckies yet and I was like, but I was told that, if one of them breaks, we can't set up another because the other one's just going to break. But I came in the next day and someone else had set up another one, and that one worked okay for a while. I mean, actually, that one's bump and go action started to not work right before hair even got in there. It just doesn't work very well. Like, one of the wheels on the bottom was like kind of tight. I loosened it and it still didn't make a difference. It just kind of sits there going in circles and getting stuck, and it just it kind of just sits there and hovers around a little bit. Like, it'll go forward for like 2 seconds and it'll stop and it'll try to back up and it'll stop and and then it just gets to the point where all it does is spin in circles. And technically the roaming props do go in circles in general, but when you first take them out of the box, they go in like big circles to the point where they actually get somewhere. And like after they get hair in them, or when you try to get the hair out, they just don't work the way they did at first. They just sit there in kind of the same spot and not really go anywhere. And there's the problem I hate with the thing I hate about these bump and goes is that you can't figure out why they're not working right, or it's just because there's when you look at it, there's nothing wrong with them. I've been working with these things since 2015 when I've been trying to figure out like when every time the hair would get stuck and the roaming dolls and the clown, I would have to get the hair out every like 10-15 minutes, and there was no and even when there was no hair and their roaming was acting up, there was no way for me to figure out why it was they weren't working right. Sometimes they would work right, sometimes they wouldn't afterwards. They were just weird. I mean, when you buy these and use them in your house, like on a linoleum floor, it's not going to happen that quickly because there's probably not as much hair on your linoleum floor. But in stores, there's hair everywhere, even if you can't see it. And trust me, I used to think that there's no hair on the floors, but trust me, a lot of hair ends up in their wheels, and you don't even think that there's hair on the floor, but there is. Anyways, the second Chucky, you know, it was it, it was at one point when I used regular Energizer batteries, it was starting to glitch out and reset, and it would just be like, "Hi, I'm Chuck," and it would stop and reset. And I was like, "How can these batteries be low already? It's not moving slow or anything, but it's just." So I tried the lithium batteries again because, like I said, I wasn't sure if the last one was just a coincidence. And when I put the lithium batteries in it, the sound on it immediately fried. I got my answer. That like this one was the sound, the other one was completely. Um, when I put that video that I did the other day where I put the phone up to the speaker and you guys said it's ear rape, but actually it's extremely quiet. You can only hear it if you put your ear to the speaker on max volume, obviously. Um, it's basically like plugging in a 12-volt adapter to something that's a 6-volt. The sound will fry. I've done that many times on accident in the past, and for some reason these lithium batteries are doing that. Like this second Chucky, the head works really well on, but the roaming was always kind of messed up, and of course now the sound is out. So now we have one Chucky that's does absolutely nothing. That's 50% off, and I'm assuming this one would be 50% off at this point. But I don't know. It's just the components in them are just too weak to withstand lithium. Like I said, I put them in cryo chamber corps and lost their way, and they were fine. I've used lithium batteries on other things before; they were fine. Actually, lost her way still died really fast with lithium batteries. Like these roaming props, their sound sensors are so sensitive. They literally never stop going, and the batteries actually get really warm because of that. The motors get hot. Lost her way's motor is actually dying because of how much she goes around, and she actually has to be changed like 3 times a day, or even 4, depending on how busy it is. So like I said, if you're ever planning on using lithium batteries in Chucky, yeah, if you want it to fry, then that's what you. I mean, 4 AA's seem to be to equal 6-volt 2 amp, which is every item that I've seen that takes 4 AA's is usually a 6-volt 2 amp adapter, and items that take 3 AA's are 4.5-volt adapters. So why these lithium batteries make that much of a difference and overpower the components, I don't know, because like you said, nothing I've used lithium batteries in before have been that bad. And I guess I can see why the Chucky was never intended to be a store display this year. Maybe. um, I mean, like I said, the roaming items are are faulty with the roaming part in general. Because, like I said, the smaller they are, the more they act up. It seems like, but this is a totally different thing though with the board issue when you use lithium batteries. So I just wanted to let everyone know that that is a problem with this Chucky, and the components are too weak for lithium batteries. Not many people use those anymore, but if you were thinking about it, because they're going all day long, I wanted to try to use batteries so I wouldn't have to change them as frequently. But clearly, I found out what happens with this item when you use lithium batteries. So I hope this video was kind of helpful in some way or something. Overall, I really like this item. I love the phrases it has, but it is kind of faulty. But if you use it correctly, should be okay. Use it on linoleum floor.